here's where we are. This is November 7th. Here is peak sales, right? You can see sales are going to do nothing but go up from here until shipping cutoff. That's why now is a great time to be doing this boot camp and a great time for you to take action. 48 days left till Christmas. Our shipping cutoff is usually like 6 days before, 5 or 6 days before. So there's like 42 days left to selling. That's not very much time, people. I hope you're hearing this and you're going, and you're getting FOMO, right? You should have FOMO right now. Fear of missing out. This should provoke you to action, right? You should feel urgency. I'm sharing this here because there's not a lot of time left. You need to take action. Now, I always get this question, how late is too late, right? Did I miss, my Q4 opportunity? I have 3 anecdotes for you. I have found 2 of my winning products in the month of December. I found one on like December 5th and the other one I think on like December 7th. And one was my very first winning product. I ran it up to only like 150K in revenue, 10 days or something like that. I ran up to like $568,000 in revenue in 16 days. I found both those in December. Now, those are 2 anecdotes. The third one is Andrew. Plumber Andrew, the guy that teaches in our community, Andrew Vo, right? Andrew Vo found his winner in 2023, I think, on like December 9th, right? On December 9th. And he ran it up to 6 figures in revenue too, right? So it's possible. When you find a winner, they really take off, right? So it is possible to find your winner in December. So my advice is don't give up, man. The sales, the buyer activity only increases every single day all the way to the shipping cutoff, right? So just don't give up. Even if you find something 5 days before shipping cutoff, and sure, you're not going to have time to scale it to the moon, scale it as high as you can. And then guess what? You have Valentine's Day and Mother's Day to get a second and a third bite of the apple, right? So just don't give up, right? That's the message here. Just don't give up, right? I need to caveat all of this with, success isn't guaranteed. This, is a skill. Your results are going to vary. It's going to require time, effort. You're going to have to risk some of your money on Facebook ads. You may not get that back. Unfortunately, it may require a little bit of luck. This is the game, though. This is the game we're playing in print on demand and as we run up into Q4. Okay. So Q4 is officially here. I want to give you some perspective on how big this holiday is. So this is Google Trends for personalized gifts, looking at 2024. Here's the little Valentine's Day bump over here. Here's the Mother's Day bump right here. Here's your Father's Day bump right here. And then here's Christmas, right? Christmas just dwarfs everything else in terms of demand. And by the way, Mother's Day is still massive. It is still huge for us. It's the second biggest holiday of the year, and Christmas just absolutely dwarfs it. So I actually could not find a chart that showed expected retail spend in 2025. I actually think they're anticipating retail spend is going to come down a little bit in 2025. But as you can see, it's almost $1 trillion is going to pour into the retail market for holiday spending in Q4. $1 trillion. $1 trillion, people. Like that's a very difficult amount of money to wrap your head around. That's a lot of money. It's not a little bit of money. It's a ton of freaking money that's about to pour into the market. And that's because you have people, they claim that people, or I read a stat that said that people on average are going to spend like $1,000 per person on gifts this year. That means everybody that's buying gifts, the average person that's going to be buying gifts for Christmas is going to spend over $1,000 on those gifts, right? And Christmas is one of those fun little holidays where you buy a gift for everybody you know. You buy a gift for your wife and your kids, and then your mom and your dad, and then your mother-in-law and your father-in-law, and then your aunts and your uncles and your cousins and your nieces and your nephews and your friends. And it's like one person ends up buying 25 gifts, right? That's why Christmas is such a cool holiday for print-on-demand merchants, right? Especially in our space, man. We have these unique, sentimental gifting items that are just perfect for this holiday. You have 2 perennial best-selling products that we smashed together at ShineOn. You have the greeting card, which is like its own, multi-billion-dollar industry. And then you have jewelry, which is another billion-dollar industry. And we're putting them together and we're creating this unicorn shortcut product that nobody else has, right? Man, you should feel pumped up about that. That means you have an edge in the market. So US holiday sales set to top 1 trillion for the first time ever. This is November 6th, 2025. Insane. Now I'm going to try to help you understand how much money this is. I'm going to do an imperfect job, but I'm trying to get your head wrapped around the opportunity. Another question I constantly get is like, is the market too saturated? It's like, dude, you do not understand how much money this is if you think you can saturate this by having a few thousand people trying to sell little message card jewelries, right? Like, this is just an unfathomable, it's an incomprehensible number for a normal person to get their head around. Okay. Your competition is not somebody else watching this live stream that's going to go sell ShineOn jewelry. Your competition is somebody choosing to go to Walmart to buy something instead of buying online, right? That's really your competition here. This cannot, I don't think this can be saturated. Personal opinion, right? Okay, so another way of saying $1 trillion is saying $1 million, which I know doesn't really help. Here's another way you can think about it. With $1 trillion, we could buy literally every private jet in the world. If we had $1 trillion, we could buy literally every private jet in the world. That's Nancy Pelosi's jet, Elon Musk's jet. That's Taylor Swift's, 3 or 4 jets that she owns. And we'd still have $669 billion left over. You guys with me on this? With $1 trillion, we buy all the jets, and we still haven't even spent half the money. It's insane. Here's another way of thinking about it. I found this island for sale online. They want $160 million for the island. If we had $1 trillion, we could buy 6,250 of these. I could give everybody on this call a couple islands, like a handful of islands for each of you, and probably your own jet to boot, right? That's how much $1 trillion is. And that $1 trillion is about to pour into the retail market because people are going to start buying gifts. Right now, look, I'm sharing all of this for educational purposes only, right? I can't guarantee your results. Your results are going to vary. Nothing here is guaranteed. I want you to understand, I'm not saying that if you go out and you sell this product, you are in fact guaranteed to make money. I got to be super abundantly clear about that, right? That's just not how this works, okay? So I want to be super clear. Everybody understands. I'm not saying, go put your life savings on black and spin the wheel. That's not what I'm saying, guys, okay? You need to understand. I'm sharing this for educational purposes only. I'm just trying to get you to understand the opportunity of the retail spend coming into the market and why Q4, if you're going to do this, if you're going to try to develop this skill, if you're going to try to build your e-com store, this is the best time of the whole year to try to do it. That's all I'm saying. Here's a question. I want you to answer one question. Do winning products really take off from day one? I have a design that's extremely well according to the metrics, but no sales. How long do I wait? It's a little bit of a difficult question to answer because a lot of this depends on your store setup and things like that. But in my experience, and in my experience talking to many other merchants, yes, winning products, assuming you have nothing glaringly wrong with your store, your funnel, or anything like that, winning products do kind of just reveal themselves and they just take off. It's guys, I struggle to explain the experience of having a winning product. I always compare it to fishing. I'm like, it's like catching a whale, right? Imagine you're on a boat in the ocean. You got a rod and a reel, and you've got your line cast out into the water. You are going to be able to tell the difference between catching, a 6-foot barracuda or a 120-foot blue whale, right? Because if you catch a whale, you're going swimming. You're not in control anymore. Right? It takes you for a ride. And that is, kind of the experience of catching a winner. Now, I want to be clear. Winners come on a spectrum. They're not all these like huge whales. You know what I mean? Some of the winners are kind of smaller and they don't have as much momentum. But usually if you hit a winner, it does kind of reveal itself. And you kind of know, right? Winners put you in this place where like you constantly feel like you're behind. Like you're just trying to stay caught up with it. And at least my experience always, anytime I have a winner, is like, I always feel like I'm kind of leaving money on the table because I don't have everything perfectly optimal, right? Hopefully that answers a question. Let's keep going here. All right. So this is ShineOn order volume by day for Q4. Now I want to be clear. I think I took this data a couple years ago. Like this is something I made and I've reused quite a bit, but like I could literally just like layer this on top of every single year. I mean, the trajectory looks almost identical every single year. So here's where we are. This is November 7th. Here is peak sales, right? You can see sales are going to do nothing but go up from here until shipping cut off. That's why now is a great time to be doing this boot camp and a great time for you to take action.